Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and it's all about girl power today. Welcoming back Coy Malone, our social justice contributor. Hey, Coy.
Hey, Sybil. Hey, Dominique.
And a very special
Coy.
welcome to our girl, Dominique, the queen of comedy. How you
Hey,
doing,
Sibby.
Dom?
I'm good. How you doing, Sibby? Coy?
Doing great.
Comedian
Good.
extraordinaire. I know you've been traveling. I know you've been doing a lot of stuff. What's going on with you?
Just traveling, Sib, and trying to do a little writing, doing a little voiceover work, just doing things entertainment,
You're
Sib.
doing big things though,
Yeah,
Dom.
just little entertainment things. And I have some things coming out in the spring. You guys will see them.
Okay. Oh, excellent, excellent. Coy, how are you doing? How's work? Coy's a big time chef now, Dom.
All right, Coy.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a challenge lately because we have had a lot of changes implemented in the kitchen and no time to adjust. So it's showing me how to just kind of roll with the punches in the kitchen, which I already do, but it's like on another level now. A job that is usually it takes two people to do, now they want one person to do. So far I'm hanging in there. I'm pretty tired.
So, are you
Yeah.
like a chef without the sous chef, or you a sous chef without the chef? How does that work for you?
Yeah, so it's like I'm the chef of my part of the kitchen with a sous chef sometimes, if
Okay.
that makes sense. And
Okay.
we're trying to keep up with the demand because now we have a lot more people that are working at our location. We've had people that have moved here from other states, from other countries to work at my building. And so we're experiencing a lot more people. They're doing different things with the budget. So with that means we have to do a lot more work with less people. And I'm doing my best to adjust.
So, what you're experiencing is what a lot of people are as these cutbacks are continuing to roll back. We just reported that Google has is going to fire, or at least they've made the announcement that 12,000 Google employees will soon be fired if they haven't already been let go. And a lot of the tech firms are experiencing the same thing. So you are representative of what a lot of people who, luckily enough, are keeping their jobs are experiencing.
Yes, so what we're noticing now is not only is the workload increasing and the workforce decreasing, but then we're also seeing that we have to possibly extend our hours on certain days just to compensate for that difference.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a conversation that we're going to start having coming up.
Right. Wow. Dom, are you seeing any differences, any effects of the economy by the attendance at comedy shows at this point?
I haven't seen it at this point, and thank God, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I do think in times like these and inflationary times and these kind of times, people want to laugh. But most of the time, according to Nino Brown, they want to do two things. He want to get high and real high, and they want to laugh. So comedy has been pretty consistent and persistent. They coming to the comedy shows, and I'm very grateful for
and
that.
and
I've
it,
seen it in the staff at the clubs, though.
oh, interesting. Yeah.
I've seen it in the staff at the clubs, not the audience, but
Yeah.
in the staff with the waiting on tables and those kind of things. It's not, I mean, and they're really, really busting their behinds.
Yeah.
Kudos to the improv staff and the funny bone staff and all the comedy staffs around the country. They really are working hard to be to get everybody served and all of those kind of things. So
That's
I
tough.
have seen it in the staff. I've seen managers in the kitchen when you work,
Mm-hmm.
you used to wouldn't see those kind of things. And they're saying pretty much the same things. Nobody really wants to work now. Nobody's coming to work, or either they'll work for a day or two and then they'll quit.
Wow.
Those kind of, a lot of that is happening. And
Yeah.
nobody seems to be able to figure out why. But I just think that a lot of it happened from 2020. People found other things they were able to do. And you can monetize yourself, I understand, on social media. And they make
Mm-hmm.
pretty decent money. So I think a lot of people have chosen to stay away from the traditional brick and mortar
Mhm.
workforce
Mm-hmm.
situation.
Wow. The times they are changing, ladies, and I guess we go with it or we get out the way.
Yes, but it'll change if you start saying you're gonna pay $30 an hour and those type of wages, and it'll start people to start trickling back in. But
Yeah,
right
that's
now,
true.
they figure if they add up $15 an hour or maybe 20 or $10 an hour, they add that up. They feel like I can just go on social media and get my followers up, and
Mm,
especially in jobs where it's a lot of younger people as well,
right,
because
right.
younger people, they do a lot of these manual labor jobs, and like a lot of like Coy, a lot of cooking, a lot of sous chefing, waiting tables and stuff like that. So we shall see.
Let's move to the What You Need to Know newsletter. This is our Monday through Friday newsletter. What you need to know is our effort to super serve the African American community with the stories that we do, whether it's politics or social justice, coronavirus, health and wellness, and LGBTQ plus, mental health and wellness. Coy Malone is our social justice activist. And Coy, got to ask you, what the world went on in Atlanta over the weekend?
Yeah, I want to know
Oh,
too.
man, oh man, it's a doozy. So there is a proposed training ground for Atlanta Police Department that is nicknamed Cop City. It's supposed to cover an 85-acre wooded area in DeKalb County, which is just minutes east of Atlanta.
Mhm.
Now, what this is supposed to do is like I said, serve as a training facility, and apparently a part of the plans includes a farm, including animals. I don't know why they want to have that.
Mm.
So for months, there's been a lot of protesters that have been saying, hey, we don't want this here because it's going to militarize the police. They've been out there protesting for months. Now, apparently there was a raid during December at the end of the year that saw, I think, 5 arrests during that time. And now there was a raid that just happened in January where 6 people were, not 6 people, actually, there were a few people that were arrested, but one person was actually killed by Georgia State patrols. And this person was named Manuel Esteban Tortuguita Paez Terran.
That's
His
a lot
fatally
of
shot.
name on a birth certificate
Ooh,
or
that's
a
a
driver's
lot.
license.
Yes, it is.
Manuel, they might as well call him Manny E.
Yes, his friends called him Tortuguita. So apparently, Georgia State Patrol claimed that he fired the first shot after disobeying commands. They did confirm that an officer was struck in the hip and treated at a hospital, and they recovered a gun at the scene and did a ballistics report. It did match his firearms. 7 people were also arrested and charged with domestic terrorism, and there's no body camera footage of the shooting because Georgia State patrol officers are not required to wear body cameras.
When
In
is that
fact,
going to change, Coy? Because that seems to
Yeah.
be a consistent point that you make every time it involves the Georgia State Police.
yes, it is. And then there's a statistic, I forget the percentage, but about 90 to 95% of their shootings happen off camera. The only camera that they do have is the dash camera. So I always advise people, and I believe this is what saved me in my own situation. If you get pulled over by a Georgia State Patrol officer and you see them pull out a gun, you need to go to the front of their car or stay in front of it. That is the only thing that is going to save you. That is the only thing that is going to
Wow.
save you. Because I feel like they go off camera on purpose, and then there has to be an investigation and what have you. So anyway, his friends held a candlelight vigil this past Friday night at Underground Atlanta, which is a very popular tourist area that's being rebuilt right now. And following that, on Saturday night, there was a peaceful protest of people marching downtown Atlanta through Peachtree Street that turned violent. What ended up happening was some of the protesters ended up using fireworks and explosives to break windows on police cars, to burn them down, and to also break windows on buildings, as well as spray paint the front of some buildings in downtown Atlanta. There were quite a few people that were also arrested during that time and charged. It's a crazy situation because I don't think that's the solution for Atlanta, to have a militarized police force. we had one in the past that was called the Red Dogs. They're very notorious for a lot of police brutality that was not reported. I've heard a lot of other stories of police brutality involving Atlanta police officers downtown. Apparently, there's a bridge where if you get arrested and they don't take you over to the jail, they're taking you over to this bridge to beat you up and let you go. So it just feels like we're going to be the subjects of a war while innocent. I don't know how that's supposed to make us feel safe.
Let me ask you this, because one of the stories is that this was really the work of outsiders, that the mayor, Dickens, said, this isn't our city. And the police seem to corroborate that by, saying that many of the people who were arrested were not from the Atlanta or the Georgia area, that these are people that came from other parts of the country and were the instigators in all of this. Do you have anything to substantiate that?
Well, I kind of agree and disagree. I feel like, yes, some of these people probably did come from other places, but where I disagree is they probably already lived here in Atlanta. Atlanta is a big melting pot where a lot of people have moved here, especially with over the last 10 years from several different areas. So that has contributed to a lot of the political change that we've had here, especially with the last few elections going from red to blue. So true enough, like I myself, I'm not even from Atlanta, Georgia originally. I'm from California.
Right, but I'm saying, but not you, because you are an Atlantan. Right. But I'm talking about, people who may have come from South Carolina, people may have come up from Florida and over from Alabama and other places like that, who were among those that were leading the fight, if you will.
And you know what? If they did, I'm glad, because there's a lot of people here in Georgia that are afraid of the consequences that could come with protesting. Like when we had the protests in recent years where they were protesting downtown Atlanta for days. And the mayor at the time decided, well, since these protesters don't want to leave, and instead of recognizing what this protest is about, I'm just going to change the law to make it illegal for people to be at this park after a certain time so they can all be arrested. There's just a lot of different things that go on like that here in Georgia, not just in the city of Atlanta, but as we've reported, so many different instances that happen with police, so many other instances that happen with civil rights and protests, that it's just alarming to see the retaliation that happens.
Has anything come out since this happened, or since we printed the story in the What You Need to Know newsletter come out on this day as a result of what happened over the weekend? You have any additional information?
Well, I do know that a lot of people that I'm associated with in the service industry were affected. Some of them were not able to go to work. Some of them were not able to leave. I know of someone that was actually at a bar watching games, and they had, police having them to stay in the restaurant. They had to have security escort them out of the back of the restaurant. There was a lot of different lockdowns and what have you. Public transportation was shut down downtown. Uber and Lyft were giving vouchers in case you missed a ride or couldn't ride in or out of Atlanta at the time. It was a lot going on. Wow. I'm not sure what's going on with the protesters, if they've gone to court yet, if any of them have been released. There was a press conference over the weekend, but no updates as of yet.
Okay, well, I know you will. I know you'll stay on it and bring more information. Here's another story. And I really wanted to ask you, you weren't one of those that was on lockdown, were you?
No.
Okay.
I was actually took the time to visit some elderly family members in my dad's hometown, and I got to take my mom down there. She hadn't been there in over a year, so that was great for everybody to catch up. And on my way back, I happened to hear about this. Couldn't really see it from the highway. I wanted to go get footage, but I thought safety first.
Right.
I know what you
and we're going to
would say.
We're going to get you to give us an update on that too as we go through this show. And hit Dominique to what has happened in your dad's hometown. This is a story that Coy first first talked about, and I was talking to Coy and Chris about this not too long ago, Dom. This is about the lieutenant in the Army who was shown trying to get help for the attack that he was undergoing from Windsor, Virginia police. You may remember this, Dominique, a uniformed Army lieutenant. His name is Corazon. I think it's it's Corazon Nazario. And so, Dom, he was driving his new car, and he was being pulled over by police, and he did what most of us now are conditioned to do. It was dark, and so he drove to an area that was well lit, and that made the police apparently even angrier. And they were questioning him about a lack of a license plate in his rear, on the rear of his new vehicle. So he's trying to explain, and they are getting angrier and angrier. They threaten to pepper spray him and all kinds of things, and telling him, shut up, put your arms out, let's see your hands, and all of this going on at the same time. And so the U.S. Army lieutenant, he was in his uniform. That didn't stop. That did not stop them from treating him like a black man, any other black man, in or out of uniform, apparently. So he filed this federal lawsuit, and when he filed the lawsuit, the video went viral of the police officers by the name of Crocker and Gutierrez pointing their handguns at the uniformed Army officer behind the wheel of his new SUV at the gas station, which was well lit. They repeatedly commanded him to exit his USV, with Gutierrez warning at one point that Nazario was fixing to ride the lightning when he didn't get out, which was a reference to shooting him with the taser. So he filed this federal lawsuit. They went to court, and he filed $1.5 million federal lawsuit. And this is where we are now. The jury awarded him, out of the $1.5 million that he asked for, they awarded him $3,685, $2,685 in compensatory damages, another $1,000 in punitive damages, after the former police officer after the still working current police officer Daniel Crocker illegally searched his SUV. $1.5 million
to $3,000,
and he got less than $4.
This is why people are traveling from other states to cause mayhem.
That's exactly but that's true, Coy. That's absolutely correct, and it's just, I don't understand why the police just can't do their job. I don't understand why it's allowed for them to be in this bully system.
And and the people and the jury obviously agrees with it. They're saying, go ahead and threaten him with the taser. Make him ride the lightning fire train or whatever it is. Go ahead. And you're not going to be punished for it.
And that's easy for people to do that don't have to suffer this punishment. It's easy when you're sitting up there and your community is not dealing with this punishment.
Yep.
And
police.
And I think that it's wrong that they're allowed to bully. I have an imminent problem with them pulling people over and stopping people, and this unwillingness to even answer the question, what did you pull me over for?
Right.
They don't, they're supposed to follow the law. They don't even have to follow the law. I don't understand that. And it's getting consistently worse.
It is. Consistent is the key.
It's getting consistently worse. And it's like out of control. So now you pull somebody over. You just tell people, get out the car. You don't even tell them why you pulled them over.
Right. Used to be, why I pulled you over? Well,
yes. Just
you don't want to admit that you were speeding, but you are.
Just upset and just angry for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
If you have to do the job that way. And I remember when policing wasn't like that. I remember growing up in Washington, D.C., where the police would come to your high schools and everything to make you feel comfortable with them. The Metropolitan Police in D.C. had a band called the Side by Side Band, where they would come and play because they have other talents. So they had a band where they would come play music and sing and all that. You remember Mr. McGruff and things to make you feel like the police were on your side.
Officer friendly.
Officer friendly, not your enemy.
Yeah.
So until we get back to that place, it's going to get worse and worse and worse until it's the okay corral, because I don't think communities are going to continue to allow themselves to just be brutalized for no apparent reason.
Yeah. This is one story that we have in the What You Need to Know newsletter. Also, another one of my favorites is Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, that's whitewashing African-American advanced placement education, as well as it's Ministry Monday. And our own Willie Mae McIver talks about letting go and letting God. And Lord, I release all of my anger, all of my, will to order to understand what's going on. That's my personal prayer. So that is the What You Need to Know newsletter. It's absolutely free. Please go to SybilWilkes.com to subscribe, and we will have it in your email box every Monday through Friday morning. All right, ladies, let's move to the What's Really Going On question, a question of the day. And this is something you both might be able to appreciate. I know I do. What is the tradition you participated in as a kid growing up? And so the question is, what is the tradition? Do you miss it? Or do you never have to do it again? It could be, going to church every Sunday, Bible study on Wednesday, church choir rehearsal on Thursday, BYPU on Sunday evenings, all of these things that, are church related, obviously. But what are those things that you did, your family traditions? Was it Sunday dinner? What these are, events, or going to so-and-so's house on their birthday, knowing, you didn't want to eat their food. You didn't want to celebrate with your cousins who were mean to you. But do you miss it? And what would you do now in its place, I guess? But, if you never had to do it again, I'd like to hear that too. Dom, you come from a what seems to be a large family. Did you guys have traditions that you had to participate in?
We did, but see, if I moved away from home so long, I was out of the traditions. All the traditions were over the phone. Yeah, we eating such and such, But one tradition we did have that we are going back to is like when my grandmother was alive, she always had food. She always had food on the stove. So everybody always stopped at my grandmother's house. I mean, everybody from the family after work or whatever would just ride through, and you could see everybody on a daily basis because it was always food, it was always cake, it was always something to make you fat, and everybody loved that, something to make you fat. But now, and she's been gone for a while now, we haven't done that. But now the family, as my aunts and uncles and my mother, as well as our the heads of our family, are beginning to age, and we have lost one. My cousins and myself, we see things differently now as it pertains to mortality now. So we are now going to start once a month, just have a family gathering, just for all of us to come together and eat and reminisce, play cards, and just fellowship with one another, like we used to do at my grandmother's house all the time. So I'm very happy about that, and I'm looking forward to the first one. So I'm excited.
Oh, so you're gonna make an effort to be there.
I'm going to be there. Like, nice. I'm going, once I get the date, they always know for certain things to give me dates ahead of time. So once I get the date, I'll be able to work around that date, because I'm going to definitely be there.
That's very cool. That sounds like a lot of fun.
It's going to be funny. We play spades with throwing the card up this high on the table.
That's right.
The card all the way by our heads. We go in like that, and we talk trash, and we run you off the table, and we eat good. And
are you related to Yolanda Starks White and her sister Andrea?
Probably some kind of way, but we're gonna. Me and my brother, we're gonna run them off. I hate to say it, Yolanda. We're gonna run you and your sister off the table. And I love you, but we're gonna have to run y'all off the table.
And they're loud about it too.
Oh, we're real loud about it. We're real loud about it. So that's gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm looking out for.
You ever run a Boston on your grandmama?
She never she never played. She just sit there and laugh and shake her head. She just sit there and look at us and be like, I declare this card game and got serious. I declare it and got serious. Oh, we run them off the table. See, if they not ready, they not ready. Oh, no, ma'am.
What about you, Coy Malone? What about family traditions for you?
One of the ones I used to hate then, but I think I kind of miss now. My dad and mom used to pack all our stuff in the motorhome that my dad had for us. And he would drive us from California to Georgia and back. We would do that 3 to 4 times a year.
Really?
Yes, and I hated it. Oh my God, I hated it. Because I was the car sick child.
Oh.
I had the sensitive stomach to everything. And we would try to find like places where we could all eat. And there was always like a disaster like each trip. Like I remember us stopping at some restaurant that was owned by natives. I want to say it was like in Arizona or New Mexico or something. Everybody in this community swore by this place.
Oh boy.
We ate this food and I was sick for days.
Oh,
and the RV gets like really hot. And it was like the old school kind of big RV that had like the bunk bed thing at the top. And sometimes I just wanted
and no
to lie
shocks
there
on it too.
No shocks. And I like to look through the window, but I would be hot and car sick. So that would just make it worse. One time we had to go, we went Easter egg hunting and we didn't stop in Georgia. We stopped in Virginia to visit my uncle and aunt out there in Virginia Beach. And, you know, we got Easter eggs and what have you. And, you know, we're thinking they're safe to eat. I ate them and I got so sick because they were sitting outside in the sun. Like,
Oh.
And it was just too long for me. It was just, but I miss it though, because we would come down here and spend time with my grandmother, where we used to have a lot of family get-togethers and what have you. And we just had a blast meeting family. I thought I had family members that were Jamaican. I found out they were actually from Louisiana. Like I couldn't tell the difference.
Right.
It was funny. But I am happy to report that my cousin did find a way to help my aunt keep our grandmother's house, and he remodeled it, and now we're gonna have a family reunion there this June coming up.
That's awesome. That's what's
so
up.
I'm not gonna drive from California. Like
good.
I might do it for old time's sake one day. I don't know.
Fly for my sake, will you?
Yeah, I would recommend
do it one time. We got
flying, Coy, flying. Yeah.
Definitely fly. Yeah.
Maybe you can do it for your dad with your kids when you have kids, Coy. You can take them and say, "This is what I used to do with my dad."
Right.
Yeah, and I'm not.
One of them will probably.
That's funny.
One of them probably will hate it, but they gonna be along for the ride.
There's always gonna be a little Coy that's gonna be sick, and you're gonna be like, "Yeah, but when I was a kid, we did this 4 times a year, and you know, and it was uphill both ways."
Once, right?
Yeah.
They didn't even tell us. I'm telling you, they stopped telling me. All I knew is when I started seeing these suitcases going outside to the RV that they pulled around the front, I'm like, "Oh God,
not again."
No.
Well, we had family reunions, but they were rather sporadic. They didn't happen a lot. And I'm afraid that we've lost so many family members that I don't even know how we would initiate that anymore. And so many of us are spread across the country. We have one contingent in Chicago. We have another contingent in California. And then there's, the rest of us are spread around. So, and there's an East Coast family. So I'm not sure how we would all do that. But that would be something that would be fun. I think
it would be fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Start on Facebook.
And just build a little committee. That's what I was gonna say. Just build a little committee and just kind of go from there.
Yeah. Oh, my family's so old though. I was like, I don't even know if they do Facebook anymore. No, they do. They just have grandchildren to tell them. Aubrey Williams on YouTube says, the tradition I miss the most is being with my family on Sunday evenings, gathering at my mama's house, sitting around eating, playing Uno, and listening to Betty Wright. Come on.
All right now.
All right. Betty Wright on a Sunday evening. There's nothing like that.
Don't blame Mr. Charlie. See, Mr.
Okay.
Charlie is just a man, and he's doing the best he can.
I love that, Aubrey. So, meaning that is a tradition you would like to revisit, I guess. You said you missed doing it, so I'm thinking you would like to revisit it. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. Absolutely. All right. Lachelle Allen on Facebook. My folks used to have card games that ran the whole weekend. Hates them. Hates, Lachelle says. I hates them.
My parents would have card games too, but it would just be like for one night.
But would it go all night, Dom?
No, my mother was not with all night. She'll start looking at the clock, see, get your score together, and see who won. Because we got things to do around here in the morning. So I hope y'all had a good time. Not all night.
My godmother was a bridge player who could play all day and all night.
Wow.
Yeah, she loved playing bridge. Oh, Connie Williams loved playing bridge. All right, thank you, Charlotte Bowen Bellamy on Facebook. I missed Sunday dinners at my mother's home, and when we lost her, then my older sister took over the Sunday dinners, and then we lost our sis. I miss those gatherings. So tell me, Charlotte, is it something that you would like to start up again and be the one to host the family dinners? Or in my case, we could just meet at a nice restaurant on Sundays.
Buffet, go to the buffet.
Or you could potluck, so it won't be so much on one person.
That's true. That's true. Z Walker on Facebook said, big meeting at my granddad's home church in the country, first Sunday in June. All of my country cousins from Hamilton, Georgia. All right. How close is Hamilton? Or where is Hamilton for you, Coy?
I never heard of Hamilton.
I think that's south. I'm getting ready to look it up.
Amy W on YouTube says, I don't miss getting and wearing jelly sandals for Easter. Oh, that's funny. You miss it, Coy?
God.
You miss the jellies?
I do. Man, I begged for a pair of those for the longest.
And when you got them, did you enjoy them?
I did. I wore those things until they turned yellow.
Oh, that's cute. So you made good on the request, because you know how sometimes we'll really ask and beg and beg and beg, and then we get them and like, not so much, and
not so much.
Yeah,
Hamilton is kind of near Alabama and Columbus, Georgia.
That's okay. AJ Mine Plus 4 on YouTube says, my siblings and I do not miss our parents dragging us to our mother's cousin's very long sanctified afternoon church service after attending our own 11 o'clock Sunday morning service. That is one long sentence there, AJ Mine Plus 4.
I have a question, AJ. Were they African Methodist Episcopal?
Oh, that's right. Because,
AME church going forever.
Right. And then you leave there to go another long service. Whoo, Lord.
I had family in Columbia, South Carolina, and we went to visit them. I went to visit them one time. I stayed like for 2 weeks, but it was during revival season. And they took us one day. I just started crying. It's sad when you cry not to go to church. They like, what's wrong? I just don't want to go tonight. I've been going for 7 days straight. I believe everything they say. Can I stay home?
Coy, AJ Mine Plus the 4 says they were Kojic, Church of God in Christ. My goodness. Yeah. That was some heavy duty preaching going on there.
Yeah, a whole lot of.
Wow. CM Williams on Facebook said, I don't know if it's considered a tradition, but I really miss being a kid watching Saturday morning cartoons.
Yes!
Soul Train came on at 11 o'clock. And by the time Soul Train came on, did you have to have the house clean, or else there was no Soul Train? I contended that, Soul Train, had us do the work a little bit faster. My mother said, no, you'll enjoy the show more if you've done the work faster in order to get to the 11 o'clock show in the Soul Train.
My mom made us clean up every day, so we never had like that designated day where everybody cleaned up. That's one of the traditions that I never got to experience. So when I heard people talking about that, I'm like, am I not black enough? Because we didn't do that. My mom made us do it every day.
There was the making of the bed and keeping my room clean. That was every day. But for the rest of the house and things like that, it was pretty much a weekly. What about you, Dom? Were you daily or Saturday?
We had to do the daily maintenance, like the making the bed and those things, making sure the dishes were washed every Saturday. But my mother get you up like you in the Marines to clean up. So by the time the cartoons and stuff got going, we were all pretty much finished if we kept at a steady pace.
Right.
And she gonna wake you up at 6 a.m.
Yeah, on
hit it.
Saturday morning or not.
You turn on the emotions, and you know it's. I tried to lay there as long as I could. As soon as I heard "Best of My Love," I was like, "Here we go with the nonsense." You got the best, all loud and blaring. I was like, "Here we go," and I would just try to lay there with my door shut as long as I could.
Yeah, but that was her door, so you couldn't
right.
keep.
I could hear her coming though. See, I would be laying in the bed, and I was like, "Just please let her just miss me today." And I could hear her coming. It wasn't no knock. She opened the door. Get up. We got cleaning to do. I was like, okay.
Got some work to be done. That's right. Yolanda, let's close out with one more person. David Psyched on YouTube says, Tom Joyner had that family reunion figured out at Orlando, Florida every year. Yeah, he did. Didn't he, Dom? He had it.
Absolutely.
He had the whole family reunion figured out. And that is a tradition that many people
hey Tom, can you figure it out again, please?
Sorry, I'm not sure about the return of the family reunion, young Coy. Sorry about that.
I don't know about that. The cruise, though, you can try the cruise, Coy, but
manifest.
Manifest. That's right. That's the word of the year. That's the word of the year. All right, let's move to our trending topics, and let's ask you, Coy. You got anything going on? Yeah, Coy's, Coy, I don't know why you playing like, oh, who, me? Coy's always got something going on, whether she's, done a TV show or what. Okay.
Yeah, now that you ask, 2 TV shows coming up. So I'm not sure exactly which episode during this season, but I am featured in an episode of BMF, which is back on air with Stars. I do know the episode also features Monique, the comedian.
All
Monique.
right.
So I'm on one of those episodes. And then also there's a show called Them that's on Amazon Prime. If a lot of you remember that, it featured a Black family moving into Compton, into a white neighborhood in the 1950s.
Yes.
Yeah, they were terrorized by like their white neighbors, but also something supernatural going on. So I'm in the second season. I think the second season is based in the 1980s, and I am featured in the scene with one of the main characters as a high school marching band member. Yes, I'm really marching.
All right.
Yes, I really am playing my saxophone.
That's absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. All right, so folks will look for that for Them as well as BMF on Stars. Okay.
I love BMF, cool.
Me too.
Dominique, before we get to your event, we want people to remember that Chris Paul and friends will be appearing this week, January 25th at the DC Improv. Go to Eventbrite for more information or check out the DC Improv website. And please support our boy, Chris Paul. And Dom, you are everywhere. You're doing a little bit of everything.
I am. I'm on the road right now. So I'm going to be this weekend, Saturday, I'll be at the Cure Arena in Trenton, New Jersey, alongside some more, Joe Claire, Bruce, Touré, Tony Roberts, Tony Rock, and I think I'm missing one other person. If I am, I'm sorry. And
that's a homecoming for some more, right?
That's a homecoming for some more. So if you're anywhere in the area, please come check it out and please come support the show. It's gonna be a funny show. And February the 17th through the 19th, I'll be at the Nate Jackson Super Funny Comedy Club in Seattle, Washington.
Okay.
So that's February 17th through the 19th. March 1st through the 3rd, I'll be at the Dayton Funny Bone in Dayton, Ohio. And some of the other dates I can't remember right now.
But if we follow you on Instagram, we'll
I'll post it. But I am coming to see Sybil, and I'll be in Dallas in May at the Arlington Improv, May the 5th through the 7th. So I'll be there.
Awesome.
Atlanta?
Not Atlanta, but we'll get to it. I'll get to Atlanta. Some of the day, Atlanta may be coming up, but until the deal is finalized, it's not anything I'm going to really say, Coy. But I'm coming to Atlanta, but I think we're still working out the deal points and getting a date there. So we getting close.
That's awesome.
I'll tell you something. That New Jersey show is about to have everybody's sides hurting. They're gonna be laughing.
Oh yeah, the New Jersey show gonna be off the chain.
If it was a one-woman show with Dominique, everybody would be falling out and hurting themselves.
You,
absolutely. Oh my
That's
God,
what I'm
Dominique's
saying. How do you follow that up? You have Dominique and everybody else after you. Like, oh my goodness.
Right. Dominique just drops the mic.
But that's why they on there, because they have these capabilities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why they line the show up like that. And it's gonna be real good. And we in Samoa's hometown, and she handpicked all of us, which is a beautiful thing.
That's special.
Shout out to Samoa. That's
absolutely. Shout out to the Queen. All right.
Yeah.
Let's move to some of this news. This has been one of the. I'm not laughing. It's okay,
Steve, to laugh at these people.
No, Dominique, the tragedies that have just gone on. I spent the morning writing about the mass murders taking place over the weekend. One of them at the Chinese New Year celebration at a dance club in Southern California. Then there was a shooting also Saturday night, Sunday morning at a club in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in which 12 people were wounded. In the Asian shooting, it was 11 people. That death toll went up. 11 people were killed. Several people were injured. And turns out it was a 72-year-old Asian man, as we may have discussed. And they're going, and this is the crazy part, 72 is really off the range for people who do these things, right?
It really is.
They're going to his senior adult living community to figure out what happened, what made him do all of this. Usually you're thinking a lone, younger white man doing a lot of this. In the Walmart case in Virginia, remember that was a lone black man, young black man, but the 72 just seems really off the scale in terms of these people who conduct these or take these people out. But it's just awful. So that was in California, in Louisiana. Fort Worth police have arrested a suspect in a deadly Whataburger shooting that killed a teenage boy. This is tragic. He was 16 years old. And according to his mother, he was doing what the family trained him and raised him to do, and that's protect his female cousin. She was severely wounded. He was killed, and now his mother is putting him to rest. And it's just the saddest thing. Happened not too far from their high school, and they have arrested people now in this case. So hopefully that will bring some closure to the family. A shooting on the south side of Chicago looked like a home invasion. 2 people have been killed there, 3 injured on the south side of Chicago, South Shore neighborhood. And Des Moines, Iowa, a school shooting today. 2 students were killed and a teacher was wounded. This is all in the last, 36 hours. It's just unbelievable. So that's honestly, that's how I spent my day, is really looking and doing these stories. So I apologize for that, but that's really my reality. This is the story. The January 6th riots continue, and the follow-up. A jury has convicted the January 6th rioter, and this is the famous picture that was taken. This is the man who broke into Nancy Pelosi's office, propped his big old feet on top of the Speaker of the House's desk. And this was, where's Nancy and all that kind of stuff. The jury convicted the Arkansas man, became infamous for propping his feet up on the desk of the then House Speaker during the insurrection, January 6, 2021. Jury in Washington convicted Richard Barnett of 8 counts, including felony charges of civil disorder, obstruction of an official proceeding. And this marked him as one of the standout characters of the attack by supporters of Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is not out of the news. He performed. He did not just speak. He performed over the weekend and apparently went on bizarre tangents while delivering a eulogy. And yes, I'm putting air quotes around it, for Lynette Diamond Hardaway of Diamond and Silk. She was one half of the right-wing duo. Earlier this month, she and her sister were prominent. She died earlier this month, and she and her sister, remember, came to prominence as Donald Trump supporters, spoke at his rallies, met with him at the White House. They were also prominent and very vocal anti-vaxxers on the streaming service of Fox Nation and spreading their conservative conspiracy theories. And eventually, because they would not get vaccinated, Fox took them off the air because they couldn't come if they weren't going to be vaccinated. Her cause of death is not unclear, but her sister said that Americans are being poisoned in a plot to depopulate the country.
So are they vaccinated or not?
They're not. They are not. They're still not. And this
so
is
what does that mean?
They're anti-vaxxers who believe that the vaccines are there just to kill people.
But I'm saying, I don't understand what her point is about it if it doesn't pertain to her.
Well, she, like Donald Trump and a lot of Trump supporters, they don't believe in the vaccination. We don't know that she died of something coronavirus related. Okay. But she was really a proponent of not being vaccinated.
Oh, okay.
Really against it. Donald Trump, during his long rambling speech at her funeral, said he just learned about her despite hosting her at the White House and at his rallies. The world has lost one of its brightest stars, he said, but I see that we have another star who is equal to, but she stepped right up and she's different. I'm serious. I thought I knew them both. I didn't. I knew Diamond, but I didn't know Silk at all. I just learned about Silk.
It's a sad funeral anytime you have Donald Trump speaking anyway.
So during his eulogy, he repeatedly complained about the length of the funeral, saying this has gone on long enough. The Black funeral, I guess he's never been to one before. At another point, he went on a tangent to push his familiar and false claims about the 2020 election being stolen. How do we stop the cheating? How do we stop it where you get more votes, but you still don't win? And a lot of nervous laughter. There was a conservative commentator who marveled at how rude he appeared at the memorial service. He was described as just bizarre, beyond rude, beyond anything anyone could see in a normal, polite, let me say, decent society. This is a guy that a lot of people want to be the next president of the United States, and so on brand for him too. Look, this is what happens when you have a narcissistic sociopath give a homily at a funeral. It won't go well.
It will not go well.
It will not go well. Dom, let me ask you, this is a related, this next story about Bethune-Cookman, this is related to Ed Reed, who had agreed to become the head coach of the Bethune-Cookman HBCU football team. He went and had a look around. He made a very verbal proclamation about the poor conditions of the football, the equipment, the field, the dorms, everything. And so the board of trustees decided not to go through with signing him to a contract. And so now the students at Bethune-Cookman held a protest. And they protested not only about Ed Reed, the former, the Hall of Famer and former Baltimore Raven, but his exit was a part of their protest. They said there was a breakdown in contract negotiations. Apparently, he still has the support of the university's student body. In a report from an Orlando TV station, students engaged in a protest that spilled out into the street in front of the campus today in favor of resuming contract talks with Reed, and many of them reportedly shouting, "Board of Trustees has to go." In addition to their displeasure about Ed Reed not being hired as the head coach and the handling of his contract, other issues they feel the school needs to address, including dorm conditions and not enough food available in the cafeterias.
I've heard of that happening a lot lately at several different HBCUs, that the cafeterias are running out of food. That didn't happen when I went to school. And that's kind of difficult to think about when a lot of these students depend solely on being fed at the school.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And, they may be there on scholarship. And so, and especially like the football players and stuff, unless they could, worm it out from their friends who work at other restaurants. Dom, before we go, we got a couple of seconds. I do want to get your take because, I'm still not watching football. You have any takes on the football games over the weekend?
I don't. The Redskins are at home, so
I'm
I
sorry.
really.
I'm sorry. What's the name of that team?
Oh, I'm sorry. The Commanders. I'm sorry. I thought the Commanders. I apologize. The Commanders. I apologize. So they're at home. So I really don't have a dog in the fight. If I had to pick somebody, see if it would be San Francisco since I'm in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
So I will go with the 49ers and that. But with the Ed Reed situation, they basically didn't give him the job for telling the truth.
Right.
And
That's what people are saying.
Absolutely, he told the truth. Even the students recognized that he was spot on. Now, he might not have delivered it the way you wanted it to be delivered, but he did speak the truth about what was happening at Bethune-Cookman, and they don't like it. We're in a society now where they want everything to be a lie, from the top of the chain to the bottom of the chain. Just like what the scientists said. They don't even want the history of this country to be the truth anymore. So now they want everybody, don't believe what you see and don't believe what's really happening. You believe what I tell you and you believe what I sell you. You know what I mean? So I think what they did with Ed was an injustice. And I commend the students of Bethune-Cookman for standing up against it and saying, well, if you firing people, it's some board of trustees. They can go home with Ed Reed since it's like that. So that's he told the truth about what he saw. He was riding around like on a golf cart or something, complaining, showing you what he was complaining about. So they just did him an injustice because nobody really wants to deal with the reality of things that are happening in this country as well as our own community. And it's really, really leading us to a dark and bad place.
Coy, we're moving into entertainment, but I'm going to get your opinion on this as an HBCU alum as well. So, Coy, in terms of as an HBCU alum, what do you, the old school way of looking at this, that Dom knows, but she is more progressive perhaps than many. So this is family stuff. We don't talk about this outside the family. What do you think about Ed Reed being hired as the head coach of Bethune-Cookman and the way that this whole thing has fallen out of place?
I wish that they would have gone through with the deal. I do understand why they would not want that type of attention on the school.
Mm-hmm.
However, like I said, this is something that we're starting to see now with several HBCUs. Perhaps, I don't know if they're mishandling funds or if they're not taking care of the grounds the way that they need to, taking care of student housing. It's not just a BCC problem. We saw the same thing happen with Howard University. Jackson State University has seen some of the same issues. They have taken the time to repair some of it, but there's still so much more that needs to happen with a lot of these schools. They need a lot of repair. They're very old. They're funded, but they're not as funded as a lot of the PWIs. So some of this attention could help bring in more investors. It could bring in a lot more sponsorships and what have you, especially now that we've had people like Deion Sanders, who did come
Coach
to Jackson
Prime.
State, who's now, who's going to another school, that's another,
there's a lot there.
You see what the drama that's going on behind that now. But just having these types of people could help bring in more revenue, and it can help people understand that, yes, these are great schools, but we do need to find a way to do better because everybody that's going here is looking for an opportunity not to go here and experience some of the same things that they're experiencing at home.
Right. All right, entertainment. Let's go a little bit lighter. Maya Rudolph is replacing M&M's spokes candies. And so you'll see her in the Super Bowl commercials for M&M's. The Saturday Night Live alum said that she is thrilled to be taking over as spokesperson for M&M's as the company puts their spokes candies back in the refrigerator. She said, "I am a lifelong lover of the candy, and I feel like it's such an honor to be asked to be part of such a legendary brand's campaign." She will appear in the Candy Super Bowl commercial during the big game, February 12th, but remain tight-lipped over details in her statement, saying only that there will be lots of fun moments in the ad. It's a very fun pairing, if I do say so myself. I think little Maya would be thrilled to get to work with M&M's. The classic American candy controversy last year erupted when Mars Incorporated, the candy's brand parent company, changed things up and doctored their mascots, if you will, to reflect today's society, including removing Miss Green M&M's high-heeled boots for sneakers and exchanging those. The brown M&M upgraded to sensible heels, prompting conservative personalities to say that M&M had become too woke. That is the new thing for conservatives to say.
Oh,
So, yeah. We can't just
Child,
go with
I mean,
with a candy commercial.
Take
you know.
several seats. God,
Yeah.
get some business about yourself.
Right. Find some business for yourself to instead of, going in on M&Ms. Like, really? So good on you, Maya, for representing. And Maya. Go ahead, girl. I'm not mad at you.
Back down memory lane.
Come on. Come on, Mama Minnie.
Rudolph.
Let's close out with Yogi's Jewel, our daily inspiration. God can create a clean heart and renew a steadfast spirit within you. And it all starts with us. So a clean heart and renew a steadfast spirit. It's all in here. Everyone, thank you so much for participating. Dominique, come back soon. Let's not wait so long.
Sid.
And
good to see you, Sid. And
it's
Coy.
always great to see you. And
it's always a pleasure.
I hope to see you on this platform before I see you on stage.
And you will.
Improv.
You will.
Okay, darling.
You definitely will.
Take care,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Have a great day. Thank you. Thanks for your time.